Hello, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise with the next installment in this series on whether the board game industry is experiencing a bubble and what it could mean if it bursts. Last time we talked about an increase in the number of board game retailers, and I pondered whether this was actually good for the long-term health of the industry. Well, I think it depends on the cause of this increase. Is it due to a steady, growing interest in the hobby spread through multiple demographics? Or is it just because board games are a current cultural fad?
Hey bro, how about some award-winning Ticket to Ride by Alan R. Moon before we go lift?
Sure, dude. YOLO. Fads often feed on a collectability mentality. Remember Beanie Babies? How's your bobblehead collection these days? Or, returning to my previous point of comparison, the state of the comic book industry in the mid-90s, which was a zenith of funny books with frivolous frills in order to capture the purchasing power of the collector's market. Oh, sure, their gimmicks temporarily fueled inflated sales, but it wasn't sustainable. And once the fad-following customers moved on, comic book shops across the nation were left with a glut of schlock that they just couldn't sell. One gimmick used by the comic book publishers was variant covers. For example, 1991's X-Men #1 had 5 different covers, but the contents of each of these issues was all the same. This can not only cause confusion in the marketplace. So what's the difference between these? Am I missing something if I get one but not the other? But it also gives a false sense of collectability by speculators where there is none. Another gimmick was utilizing crossovers. That's where one character appears in another book. Oh, you may only be a fan of one of the properties, but maybe the crossover will be a gateway to introduce you, and your wallet, to the other one. And this can lead to some real, you got your chocolate in my peanut butter type of moments. Oh, on a completely unrelated note, Cryptozoic and AEG have recently announced that they've entered into a strategic partnership to release even more versions of the popular card game Love Letter, which will feature crossovers by characters from Adventure Time, DC Comics, and The Hobbit. Chocolatey. And finally, there was a flood of yearbooks and annuals which celebrated arbitrary milestones by wrapping recycled content within a fancy, overpriced new wrapper. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any examples of this because I ironically spent all my time this week playing the 10th anniversary editions of Power Grid Deluxe and Ticket to Ride while waiting for my deluxe version of Takenoko to arrive. These gimmicky practices could lead to an artificially inflated, unsustainable market in danger of fatigue, a bubble. What happens when that bubble bursts? We'll find out in our next installment, a special all-hologram edition with a crossover by a limited edition collectible guest star. Or just me standing here talking.